Ladies and gentlemen, I have a couple of things I'd like to talk about, if that's okay with you all. I've been, it's not the first time, but I've been very disappointed in people. I I do this 7 days a week. As many of you know, you can go back and look at the videos and see that I very seldom take a break from all of this. And the main purpose of this is not to make money off of anyone. I told you I don't make a dime off of any of this. I don't make a dime off of any of these stupid videos, and I could make money off of the videos just by telling Google, "Hey, Google, monetize me," and that's it. But I don't choose to do that because once I do that, then I'll start focusing on revenue coming in. I don't want to pimp you. I don't want to do this just to make a dollar, so I don't. I do the consultations because people need the help. They need that one-on-one conversation, no problem. I give them 3 hours. Well, technically, definitely over 3 hours because of the pre-consult. And one pre-consult, the gentleman, it lasted for an hour and 42 minutes because he had an emergency. I had to work out some paperwork for him so he can get it in the court. And when he filed it, it was able to stay what was going on. So that hour and 42 minutes left the remainder of the consult being 2 hours because I told him I had to take that time off of the consult. Why? Because I had to do paperwork for him. It I charge $250 per document. That's a minimum because it ain't no joke. I don't just write documents to be writing documents. I just did 3 appeals for someone. Well, sorry, 2 appeals for someone. No, three. I just realized there was 3 appeals for the individual. Plus, I did the appeal for the $400 billion lawsuit, all within the last 2 weeks. Plus, handling everything else. I told you guys about the young lady who I was helping to redeem her home because they had taken her home. She only owed a couple of $1,000 because they purchased the home through the bank for a mediocre amount. So I gave her over $8,000. You know, she stopped communicating, never told me whether or not she finished the process of redeeming the property, even though we had an agreement. We have an agreement, ladies and gentlemen. I have the communication for her. I had her send over her information. Give me a second. I I just take people on their word. So let me open this envelope that I received from her, and let's see if it has the information agreed upon. I keep the envelope because it has, her handwriting, signature, and everything. And it talks about our agreement. And it talks about what's going to happen, what ain't going to happen. And then she's already sent me a copy of her ID and her information. But, hold on, let's talk before we do all of that because it's very important. I got to scan this into the computer. Very important. Ladies and gentlemen, I gave her that before she even put that in the mail. But then, like most people, she made a executive decision to treat me like a punk. No joke. I did the consult with the young lady and I felt a little bit of pity. And so I said I was going to help her out. Said I don't normally do this, but I'm going to help you out. I recently wrote her and told her I was disappointed that it has come down to this, that so soon. All she had to do was just let me know whether or not she completed securing that with the clerk of the court. Why? Because I just wanted to make sure that they didn't get over on her. And she got over on me. Now, look, I do believe in you reap what you sow. Now, hey, ladies and gentlemen, that's that alarm. 6:34. Hey, to see you home. You don't ever have to be alone. Ladies and gentlemen, the young lady only had to just say, hey, I did this, I did that. That's it. There was no hounding. She had until the end of the year to take care of everything. She just needed to use it only for that purpose. Of course, I now know that she didn't use it only for that purpose. She said when she attempted to do it the first time, they arrested her. Why? Well, because of what she was doing. She was redeeming her property. They lowballed it. They did it for an amount that they knew she didn't have on hand because they have access to bank accounts. So they saw her bank account, knew she didn't have the money, but they had no idea that someone would loan her the money. So all she had to do was go pay. So they ended up arresting her. She stayed in jail for a couple of hours, not the entire night. She stayed in jail for a couple of hours. I think it was 5 to 7, and she was released. She went back to the court to try to do it again. She had some issues, so I was concerned. She has not bothered to communicate with me in, well, almost 2 weeks now. She only had a little bit of time in order to take care of the payment. She could actually make the payment in the court, but I would have told her that, but she, again, stopped communicating. And yeah, it was interesting. Huh. Then there's so many others that I've gone out of the way. $100,000 last year trying to help people out. None of it was beneficial to me. $100,000 last year alone. I'm not joking when I count the numbers. I'm not joking when I count the numbers. So, no more helping people out monetarily. Sorry, you guys don't deserve it. I'm not joking when I say that. You see, the reason why most people are in debt, don't worry about it. I used to do the same thing in the past. The reason why most people are in debt because they take advantage. That's the only reason why people are in debt because we take advantage of others. Look, they were taking advantage of these people, so I came in and says, okay, no, I don't like that. I don't think that's right. And so I came in to help these people. It turns out that these individuals, so I'm going to say it because it's the way it needs to be said, these individuals deserve to be taken advantage of. Why? Because that was their game in the first place. They didn't care. All they cared about was themselves. People are the most selfish creatures on the planet. Not like I said, you're supposed to be selfish. Gotta love your neighbor as yourself. So you can't love your neighbor unless you love yourself. So you gotta be selfish up to a degree. But these people are selfish to well beyond degrees. So when they say a few can ruin it for everyone, that's the few. Oh no, no, I'm gonna still do the consults, but I'm not gonna be extending any of my funds to anyone. I have another venture that we're getting ready to start, and individuals are not appreciating the way that I'm taking charge. Well, hold on. I am now this one it's advantageous for me and Satcom and this company, but I am putting up $10,000 of my money. They're not putting up any of theirs. And I can tell that they don't appreciate me standing over them, making sure that everything goes right. When they can't understand that I'm business, I am not this friendship stupidity. I don't want to run the company. I don't even want to micromanage it. It's not my business. I don't want it. I'm doing this primarily for SATCOM. I'm not doing this for them. But because I am putting up the money, what they don't understand is I don't need them. I'm the one who suggested it in the first place. I digress. It is offensive. But then people say, well, you treat people like they're children. No, I don't treat you like you're a child. You only perceive it as you being treated like a child because you're not used to being told what to do as an adult, because you want to run things and you don't have anything to be running. What did your mother tell you when you were young? A pot to PISS in? Okay, don't even have that, and yet you want to be in charge? That's the reason why your parents were telling you that. Don't worry about it. I had to learn that lesson the hard way. Beggars can't be choosers, and choosers can't be beggars. But people don't understand that. Everybody wants to be in control, but then they don't have what it takes to be in control. They don't have any capital, they don't have any money. That's why they have to ask people for that. And once they get it, then they think that, well, because they're asking for it back and they're asking me to stick to the agreement, that thus the reason why so many of you are having problems. Ah, no, I'm not venting. Yes, you are. No, I'm not venting. You are venting. Okay, I am venting. I am literally suggesting of my disappointment in people. You'll hear the roosters out there. They're telling me to get off of this microphone because I got a meeting in 20 minutes and I got to get ready for that. Ladies and gentlemen, no good deed goes undone, but no good deed goes unpunished when dealing with man. You're going to have to be punished when you're trying to help man, because man are crooked, man are imperfect, man are wicked. Not in the complete combination. Now, some of them meet all the criteria of what I just said, but you know, most meet only one of those criteria. So when dealing with man, you have to understand. I just had another person whom told me that I was their mentor. Mentor. Yeah, they learned a lot from me and was just there to learn information from me, which is why working for SACOM, they didn't do anything. They said they completed work and tasks. No, all they did was we give them assignments to fill in documents and put your names in and all that stuff and mail it out. But the person wasn't following procedure. They eventually quit because they got mad because I wouldn't answer their question, their personal question during a company meeting, which is a violation of policy. Told people that won't happen. Told them if they're there to just get information, that ain't the place to be. But the person didn't understand that. So the person said that I have an ego. Well, I've already told everybody I have an ego. I, man, if anybody on this planet has an ego, I have an ego. But sorry, please understand this. That was my show. This individual showed up to my theater, showed up to my arena, showed up to my show, and gonna tell me I have an ego when it comes to my stuff. So that's what I have to deal with, people. People wanting to come in and dictate, wanting to come in and dictate how I do things with what's mine. Okay, no problem. But then get upset when I come in and I say, oh no, if I'm gonna give you this, if I'm gonna give you this much money, no, you're gonna do it this way. We're gonna have this as an agreement. Do you agree to those terms? Yes or no? And they agree. And the next thing you know, they don't follow the script. This is what I'm dealing with, people. So sorry. They messed it up for the rest of you who will need some little understanding. See, right now, there's a problem. China sent a ton of stuff to the United States over the past couple of months. Hold on, I'm gonna show it to y'all. Give me a second. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Celeste has done a video talking about, well, she's not the only one, how China, pay attention, sent over 200,000 empty shipping containers. 200,000. No, no, no. Do you know how many shipping containers they can put on one ship? Okay, pay attention. 200,000. How many ships would it take to send over 200,000? And how long will it take to offload those containers, to open them, to see that there is nothing inside of them? Border and Customs has to open up each container to determine, hey, there's nothing in here. Well, they could just weigh them. No, 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 no. Because China knows they could just weigh them, they could just x ray them. So you had better believe they're not completely empty. That was China's response to the tariffs originally. Hold on a second. Let me let the young man talk.
It's being reported that 200,000 shipping containers from China came to the United States empty.
Okay, now there you go. It's just being reported, y'all. Well, the ports are, some reports of the ports are being empty, which is partially true. The ports are slowing down. That's the news. Not because I said it. Hold on now. We're going to make sure y'all understand. It's not that. Where's the slowdown at? Right here. See? Slow down. Okay? Slow down. We got the slowdown going on. Now, hold on now. We're not talking, that was 9 days ago on Fox 11 News, LA. Okay? Fox LA. Fox 11 News. I know that channel because I used to watch it. Anywho, ladies and gentlemen, things are slowing down. You see, you're going to see the America farming products in the stores now. The GMO products, shh, don't tell nobody. The soy, all of that stuff, GMO is what you're going to see in the stores from this point forward. Now, hold on now. Need you to pay attention. The store shelves are not going to be completely empty because China's not buying the soy anymore. China's not buying the grains and the wheats and all of that stuff. They're getting it from Brazil and other countries now because of the tariffs. They're buying their oil from Iran, which is why you heard Trump say, hey, anybody buying oil from Iran is ostracizing, and getting rid of us as a partner, a trade partner. They don't care. They don't need America. We keep thinking they need us. They don't need us. Okay? China was supposed to be the next economic powerhouse. They said that in 2012. Why do you think they've been preparing like they have? Okay, that's going to be the new global empire. Well, supposedly the new global empire. They'll never make it. Because if you look at, and I do believe in Bible prophecy, there's not a single prophecy in the Bible that has never come true. Go ahead. The Bible has never said something was going to happen and it didn't happen. So I'm sticking to its track record. And the last world power that it shows being in power is the United States. Go ahead, Daniel chapter 11. Okay, Daniel chapter 11, that's what it talks about. You hear about the king of the north and the king of the south. There's always been two factions. Always. Always. So now that you get it. All right. That being the case, ladies and gentlemen, this is a setup. They are damaging the American economy. They are damaging the American so-called psyche, spirit, whatever you want to say. And you all are getting caught right in the middle. You're being distracted by people talking about all kind of dumb things that don't even matter. Elon Musk. Who cares about Elon Musk? Elon Musk is nobody. So what? He's got a couple of trinkets. So what? He's got a couple of things that they call billions of dollars, which don't even exist because there's no money in the United States. You need to pay attention to what the law actually says money is. We're not talking about no gold clause where they shall coin nothing but gold and silver as blah, blah, blah. We're not talking about that. We're talking about what actual money is. Federal Reserve notes are not money. He has Federal Reserve notes, people. He doesn't have money. Federal Reserve notes are not money. Go ahead, do your research on it. They are not money. So why is he called a billionaire? Why is Amazon and other companies being called trillion-dollar companies? They are not trillionaires. You don't believe me? Watch and see the next couple of weeks. All right, look, the ducks are starting to let me know that they're awake because they're listening to me. Now they've been awake for a minute. I gave them some water earlier. Those heat lamps really do dehydrate them, so I had to get up twice last night to give them some more water. Oh no, I can't fill their container up with water. Ooh wee, because they will knock that junk over. Because they're ducks, they got them little feet and they just put them wherever they want to, and I ain't got time for it. They're in the house because they're too small to be leaving outside. I don't want to take a chance. So they're in the house. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, the dream team. Okay? Gotta let y'all go. I hope some of you understand why I talked at the beginning about trying to help people out. And then even the people I tried to help out, the people who on the side asked me how to handle certain things on a personal level, and I gave them that on the strength. But then they say I'm the guy who has an ego, that I did something wrong to them, and I've done nothing to the person or to the person's family. I kept telling the person I don't have any friends, and it's for that primary reason that I don't have them, because that's how people tend to act. I don't have time for it. Literally, you have no idea how I'm not disappointed, but I saw some potential, and so I'm disappointed. The young lady who I tried to help, I'm very disappointed in that young lady. When I spoke to her over the telephone, I foresaw mentally that this was going to happen, but hey, I can't judge a person based on. I used to be able to look at a person and tell exactly who they were. I can't do that anymore in our current environment because to literally these days looks are deceiving. You think a person is a nice person and you only find out that they're the most devious person on the planet. There was a young man I met in 2020. I don't know this kid's name. He was a kid to me. He was 37, 38 years old. I mean, if you saw him, you would think he was the nicest person on the planet. Where in fact, he was one of the most violent people in that environment. But when dealing with me, talking to me, he was real. He told me exactly how he felt. But we would have conversations. Why? Because he knew that I didn't really care how he felt. Okay. But we would have conversations because he saw that I knew more than him. See, that's me. I help people out even though they are vile. They are, in my opinion, they would be worthless, but I don't get to make that determination because I was not put here to judge anyone. So I cannot do any prejudgments. I have to take everybody as being equal. I cannot put anybody on a pedestal, and I can't put myself on a pedestal compared to anyone else. But that's my disappointment in people. You see how we brought that full circle? All right, gotta go. Take care of yourselves. Arrivederci. Adios, sayonara.